Welcome back, Jeff Go to Go podcast. Bryson, I'm excited about this one.
I am too. We got a lot of superstars in the room. Right
Yeah, we do. A couple of things to attend to. Basketball, still rolling. Some nice wins over Cascade last night. Brody Carr with the game winner. 47 seconds left, puts one in. Good win by those guys. They've won 3 of their last 4 now. So
yeah. I mean, that's what we kind of talked about earlier. You know, they started off the season a little rough, but I mean, they started off playing two really good teams. So picking it up at the very, I guess we're at the middle, almost to the middle point of the season now. So
just about. I mean, once you get to the other side of the new year, it's pretty much all district games from there.
Hitting the ground running. I think they're finding their groove, and looking forward to see what they do after the new year for sure.
Let's jump into today's podcast. We've got a couple of special guests. As always, I'm joined by Bryson Jurek, the golf coach and social media liaison for Jefferson County Athletics. I'm joined by Maddux Rogers, co-leader of the riot? Leader? You're just taking the whole thing now?
Yeah.
Okay. Leader of the riot. And we got special guests today. The Grand Poobah of Jefferson County, Spencer Riley, head football coach.
Hello. Glad we could all be here today.
And it's not often that we have a guest bring a guest, but he brought a special one today. Catelyn Riley joins us.
Hey, how are you?
So I'm really excited for this one. Catelyn, how's things going in Oxford?
It's going great. I love it down there. The people are amazing, and just the atmosphere is awesome.
That's awesome. Spencer.
Yes. Welcome.
How are you?
To the podcast. Glad to be here today. Super excited to be here. It's been I was disappointed we didn't get to do it during football season. Dennis said he didn't want to have me. So
that wasn't necessarily the case.
During football season. But it was a little busy during the season this year. It's a super exciting year, a super exciting time here at Jefferson County and where our program went, and it's just kind of a crazy year, you know what I mean? For me personally and professionally, we had a great year professionally, and it's been a little bit of a struggle early on in the year. With me personally, with the loss of my brother and my uncle, and so it's just been some downtime here. Been good for me.
How has the off season been treating you?
It's been great. I've been getting on a tractor and riding around and cutting, bush hogging a little bit. So it's been nice. Putting my earbuds in, trying not to flip it, and just enjoy my time in the peaceful nature.
I'm sure when you put those earbuds in, you're listening to the podcast, right?
I do listen to the podcast. It's usually when I'm going to sleep, though. But,
okay. Well.
But that's what I do to all my podcasts, though.
Yeah.
But then I throw them back on and I may listen to one podcast 3 times just to make sure I get everything I want out of it. And, you know what I mean? So I do. You're not the only one I turn on while I'm going to lay there in bed, because that's how I go to sleep and how I relax and unwind.
Talked about this season. I mean, yeah, great season for you guys. Did some things that hadn't been done here in a long time. As a coach, what did that mean to you?
I mean, it was special. You know what I mean? It was a special time for me, and for me more so than anybody, it's more special for this school and this program. And I mean, I just happened to be the rudder of the ship.
That's what I meant to introduce you as, and I completely forgot.
So just happened to just be the guy that tries to lead it in the right direction and try to get things turned around here. And there's been some struggles while I've been here, but for sure. But this year, you know what I mean, I think we've got the things in place that to make our program continue moving in the right direction and continue to grow.
Catelyn, was he a character to keep up with throughout the season from afar?
I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't watch a single game. I supported him from afar and had Mama text me updates. That's about all I got. I was supportive from a distance.
You didn't talk to him personally? Just get any of his thoughts or anything?
It was a, hey, good luck, kick butt, and take names.
There was not much conversation during the year. I said, hey, babe, I asked Beth, I said, hey, how's our daughter? Good. You want you to call her sometime? I said, well, she can call me too. So it's turnabout's fair play right there on that part of it. So, but no, we just communication skills between me and her during season or during football season is not very good.
Because our schedules were completely flipped from each other.
Yeah.
So I'd be practicing in the morning, he'd run into practice in the afternoon, and I'd get in bed about 8 o'clock at night, and he's just now getting home.
So it was kind of different schedules for us. So we just didn't have a lot of time to communicate. But it's great having her home for Christmas. She's been home already for almost 2 weeks now.
Going on week 3.
So it's been nice to have her home and spend some time with her and run around and chase her and just catch up and be a dad and hang out.
You haven't drop kicked him yet?
No, not even close.
All right, wow, that's good.
There's pluses to that.
How nice is it for you to be back home?
I love being home. I'm very family oriented, so being back home is great for me because I get to see my grandparents and everyone like that. So it's nice to get back to where I'm from.
Of course, you talked about, with the schedules and everything, you're going through fall ball at the same time that he's going through football season. How's that going?
It went really well. So right now our field is under construction at the moment. The question I keep getting asked is it going to be ready in time? And I think it is. And so we keep getting told it's going to be ready in time. So we'll have a brand new field for our upcoming season, which is really exciting. And then he actually did get to come to one of my fall ball games this year. So it was family weekend. Mom and my grandparents got to come down, so it was nice for them to be able to come down and watch me play a little bit. So
thank God for a Thursday night game.
It worked out perfect.
It worked out perfect for that weekend. It was the only weekend they actually played during the weekend or on the weekend, and it was the weekend we played at Farragut on that Thursday night, and we just drove down, and I turned around and came back on Saturday night, drove down Friday, and come right back on Saturday, be here for a Sunday staff meeting. And so it was good, just quick trip. It's not, everybody thinks 7 hours is a long drive. It's not that bad, I'm used to hopping on the interstate and rolling, and especially when I was in college football, you drive 7 hours just to go see one kid and turn around and come back. So in the same day, so it's just life, for me, it's driving's relaxing and peaceful, especially when I can just turn on a podcast or listen to what I want to, but I am a big podcaster. My wife hates talk radio. She can't stand it.
Me too.
They can't. I love it. It's one of those things. I'll turn a podcast on, and I listen to a lot of Dell Jr. Download Media. What's it called? They're
Dirty Mo.
Dirty Mo Media, right? And I listen to about everything they put on there.
Sure.
Because it's funny. They do a great job with it. So Beth's like, why are we listening to this? And I'm like, because I like it.
Yeah.
It's peaceful to me.
Yeah.
So it drowns out all the other noise. So, and she's like, was that aimed at me? I'm like, no, it was not. No, it's not. So, but she takes it as she wants to, right? And you'll figure this out as you.
True crime kind of guy.
No, I'm not. No,
Those
I'm
are
not.
nice.
Not at all.
Yeah.
You're gonna figure this out as you get married.
Yeah.
You got that coming up here not too long. So.
Yeah, that's right.
So you'll learn to say yes, dear, and move on about it and not worry about it. So,
Do you enjoy the trips down to Oxford whenever you get to take them?
I do, man. During the spring, we try to make every home series or anytime they're playing in Oxford, which is nice. And you get a chance to go down and just be me and be who I am and just enjoy some peaceful and relaxing time. It's a great town. It's a great college town. That all athletics there are supported really well. The community is truly a college-based town. If Ole Miss was not there, there wouldn't be anything in Oxford. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of neat to see, and you really go back and look at it. The original how the SEC was laid out, it was that type of towns to begin with. So it's pretty cool.
Catelyn, it's National Signing Day today. I know just a couple of years ago you made the decision to go to Ole Miss. You were committed somewhere before that. Was Tennessee Tech?
UAB, University of Alabama at Birmingham.
Okay. And then the offer from Ole Miss came about. What went into that process, and how did Ole Miss end up becoming the place for you around that time?
So our head coach had left and went somewhere out west from UAB. So I decided to reopen my recruiting process and all that kind of stuff. And then they actually offered me to come down there and I didn't go on a visit because it was in the middle of COVID. So I went with me and my mom and dad. We went by ourselves. I said, hey, I want to go visit this place before I have the opportunity to say yes, because I want to see where I'm going to be for the next 4 years potentially. So I fell in love with it and fell in love with the town, and I was like, if I had a career-ending injury, I'd be able to live here and stay there. So
You see, I mean, especially in football right now, I mean, with the transfer portal, you see a lot of kids that they commit, especially the ones that committed during COVID, they didn't really stick around because they didn't get to take official visits and all that stuff. But you're one of the few that have stuck around. Obviously, I guess that shows just how much you do enjoy it down there.
So we just got two new coaches there this year, and like I genuinely love them as people, and like they're really good at what they do, and like they care about us as people, so that makes it even better. So them plus the town makes it a whole good. So it's awesome.
What's it mean to get to play softball in the SEC?
It's awesome. It's something I've dreamed of since I was a little kid, and I am grateful for the opportunity every day, because it doesn't matter where you come from, you always are able to play at the highest level possible.
Sorry about the phone ringing. My fault.
Back it up.
Lord. Okay. Any favorite places that you've got to go to while playing at Ole Miss?
So far, it's been Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. So we got to go there last year for 2 weeks, which is really exciting. So the schooling on the road was kind of hard, but our academic advisor went down there with us, so it was awesome. And then I'm really excited because come February, we're going to Hawaii. So I'm really excited about that. But I'm really excited that we get to stay on the East Coast a little bit this year, too. So after we get back from Hawaii, we're going to Kennesaw State and playing in their tournament. And then we're going to Clemson, South Carolina. So they get to get some family around a little bit more in the February area.
Did you not go to Mexico?
No, we did not.
You going to Hawaii?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
So we're going.
When did we leave?
Wednesday, February the 7th. So when we leave right now.
That's right around when district tournaments start. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting, because we kind of knew that they were probably going to go to Hawaii this year, and that's why we didn't go to Mexico last year. So I mean, and it would have kind of sucked to go last year, just to be honest with you. She got hurt game one of the while they were in Mexico, and didn't play again until Tennessee series here.
Wow.
So when I went to Mexico for 2 weeks and I'd been in Mexico for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, it's still a
but-
vacation. You
but
still got to
still.
enjoy your time, didn't you?
Yeah, it was great.
So, but me, I'm not about that. If I'm going to go, the only reason I'm going to Hawaii is to watch her play ball. I wouldn't go just to go because I don't care about all that. My wife enjoys it, and then we're actually going to use it as our 25th wedding anniversary trip.
Surf or anything?
No, I'm not
Oh, I was
athletic.
paid
at
to
that.
see.
So we need to convince my mom to go on a helicopter with him. That is our
I do
goal.
want to do that.
I'll draw the line there.
What is wrong with you all in helicopters? Would you get on a helicopter?
With
Would you?
good view.
Me too. I just want to go in and fly into the waterfalls and check those out.
You're gonna end up flying into a volcano.
Who cares, man? I'm all
Hey,
about
it'd be
that.
fun. If it's the way you go, it's the way you go.
Yeah.
There you go, out in a blaze of glory.
I guess.
Just like in the Blazing Saddles. Have your boots on fire and let's go.
Yeah. I'm terrified of heights. I ain't getting on the helicopter either.
It's not. I don't understand terrified of heights.
don't think
Look,
I'm
she
terrified.
does too. She's terrified of them too. I watched her walk a White House one time over in South Carolina, and I thought she was going to cry. She crawled down it and up it.
Well,
'Cause I'm like,
blame her.
I'm like, well, you're not, but probably 15 feet off the ground. I said, it's not that high. So she said, come on, man. Toughness is a choice. And she
Oh,
chose not to be very tough, dude.
So-
I can fly all day, but walking bridges over heights scare me. I will stay away from the edge.
I don't blame you.
She has a hard time going across the Blue Bridge over here in Dandridge, right? To walk across that, to have pictures made, it scares her to death.
I thought I was gonna fall twice.
Over under, how many times throughout your life have you heard the phrase "toughness is a choice"?
Over 1,000.
I'm glad to see that it's not just.
Good phrase.
It's a great phrase.
What do you get out of toughness as a choice?
It's how tough do you want to be in this moment, and are you willing to fight through adversity when it comes to you?
She sounds like your clone.
Well, she ought to be. I've trained her since she's been freaking born. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, if you're trained by a blacksmith, you're going to be a great blacksmith, right? I mean, that's what if your dad was a blacksmith, you're going to be a great blacksmith, right?
My dad is a heat and air guy.
Well, you'd be a great heat and air guy if you chose to be.
Oh,
you
okay.
chose
to
to be.
Okay.
Right? She wanted to be an athlete. Well, I knew what it took to be an athlete. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I was the best in academics. By no means. I was not. Her mother, on the other hand, was. If it wasn't for Bryson's mother-in-law, future mother-in-law, probably, and Ann Herndon, I don't know if I would ever made it out of Jefferson County High School. Let's just be honest. If it wasn't for athletics, I wouldn't be sitting here today, right? And athletics taught me how to be tough, right? And when I was going through school, it was a lot more physical, a lot more demanding. You know, today it's easy for athletes. I mean, and I say easy compared to what we were a month of 2-a-days, reporting in June, and you're there until you don't get a Christmas break. You go straight from bowl game into school, right? So you're just there, and it's a continuous cycle, right? Today is just a little different because all the social media stuff they have to deal with and all the other things that take their time away. Right? Well, thank God they didn't have social media when I was in school, right? Let's be honest.
Wow.
Not good. Could have been some bad episodes. Been in some blooper reels, I'm sure.
You maybe had to have gone the JUCO route for a year.
I don't know about that. Try to stay out of the penal system, right? You know what I mean? You're trying to make sure you stay out of the penal system. That's what we're trying not to go play in the penal league. So,
Wonky Sean's a great movie.
it's a great movie. One of my favorite movies of all times. Burt Reynolds did a great job in that movie. It's a lot better. The original's so much better than the second one, the remake.
Wow.
Come on now.
I ain't never watched the original.
Well, you need to watch the original. It's awesome. Burt Reynolds does a great job.
You talk about social
Be a
media,
Florida State fan. You ought to be
my
watching.
God.
You ought to be watching Burt Reynolds movies. Thank you very much.
Had to slide that one in there.
Yeah.
Little jab in.
I'm sure that he'll get another jab in before we finish. You talk about social media, of course, NIL and all that stuff. Caitlin, how do you navigate all of that in today's day and age?
So something really great Ole Miss did is we have NIL seminars that we have to go to because my freshman year we had one on taxes. Last year we had one on sports betting, and then we're having another one soon about something else. I can't remember what it is, but even leading up into me coming to Ole Miss, because it was so new my freshman year, the amount of seminars I sat through my freshman year summer going into college just to learn about NIL and all that kind of stuff was ridiculous. Because I remember sitting in California in between ball games, having to get on this Zoom call and listen about taxes and all that kind of stuff. I'm looking at Mom, I'm like, I don't know anything about taxes. I'm just here to play ball. And then so I actually went and deep dove into NIL my freshman year and looked into a lot of it and that kind of stuff. So last summer I was in the NIL summit in Atlanta, Georgia, which is a big conference for all NILs and awards and that kind of stuff. So I got the opportunity to go there, and it was really cool to learn more about it and meet some new people, network, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot about networking and finding the balance between everything. So, because I don't do a lot of NIL stuff, but I know so much about it just because I want to learn about it for when I decide I want to coach one day, and I can help my players through that.
How much do you have to go about? I mean, just because a lot of it is creating your own brand.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that do you have to? How much time do you have to put into that?
So it just depends on how big. It's as big or as small as you want it to be. So for me, I don't do a whole lot, but I know some of my teammates who put in a couple hours weekly to do it, 10 plus hours a week, just trying to figure out TikToks, Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, when to post and all that kind of stuff. Because I was talking to one of my friends and I was like, hey, I have a bunch of drafts that saved in my Instagram, ready to be posted. And they were like, you have drafts for your Instagram posts? And I was like, yeah, because I just need to post it at a certain time and I get more views that way. Because you'll also come to figure out that if you post at certain times of the day, you get more likes or not, and more follows and more views and that kind of stuff.
I feel like we could use some help in that department.
Yeah.
Hey, she taught me something the other day about collaborating with our student athletes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You talked about it, and I had no idea about it, but wanting to collaborate and stuff. probably don't even know anything about collaboration, do you, when it comes to social media? Something you'll learn right here. You know what I mean? We're going to post something, but we're also it's going to be posted on the student athletes page as well, and their views count. You get more views from.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about getting views, right?
You see that all the time too on social media and stuff. They just one place posts it, they post it with 5 other people, and you go from having 10 views to having 10,000 views.
Yeah,
that's just how it goes. Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's all about views, right? And I can go back and look at some of our stuff that we've posted or you've posted, and you know what I mean. And we collaborate with our kids, and it'd be go from 500 views to 3,000 views just like that, right? And you're like, well, okay. So that's something I learned from her over Thanksgiving break. She showed me how to do it when we were sitting someplace having dinner or something. So
With Sadie Marty.
yeah. So I mean, something that you learn, and you it's something that I learned, and it's something I don't like to deal with, right?
But in today's day and age, you have
got
to.
You got to, right? And I'm very fortunate and blessed to have 2 people that help me with my social media stuff. So, you know, I mean, it's very nice. And then having Bryson here, we try to collab with stuff on that, and they tag them in it, and all that stuff, and he tried to tag us and stuff, and it works out well for us, man. I mean, if you use it right, it can grow your brand, and I think we did a really good job this year growing our brand as a football program.
I think I know something that could help the both of you out. I think you need to get him in on a TikTok.
Oh, no. No. He would not do that at all.
Like a TikTok dance or something.
What you talk about, Willis?
The day I get him in a TikTok video,
I think it'd be great. I think
do-
it'd be good content.
I'll do a TikTok video when we win a state title.
Well, you were only 3 rounds away this year, so getting
we
closer.
We were 3 rounds away, though. It's a long ways away. That's 21 days. It's a long time.
We talk about signing day stuff. How much has this whole process changed since you signed with UT?
Well, I'm going to sit here and tell you what's changed everything is COVID. COVID's changed how recruiting works in general because of, this is something that I don't know if you really want me to get in my soapbox about, and it may be a 2-hour conversation here, but high school.
I got time. I'm going to get comfortable, though.
Last time we said it was a 2-hour conversation, it wasn't.
So, but I mean, this is a deal that high school football recruiting has changed 100%. We have kids that are frustrated because right now it's on our football team that they don't have offers, right? They're really, really good high school football players, and they can play college football. But if you're not a Power 5 type guy, if you don't have a 1-2, or if you don't have a 3, 4, or 5-star by your name, you're not going to be recruited as a 5-star guy. Period. Right? And then when they get there and they don't play, they're going to leave. And it's called a trickle down. It's like a snowball effect, right? So those guys leave, go to 1AAs. Well, those 1AA schools, or like your East Tennessee States and Tennessee Techs and TSUs and places like that, and Chattanooga, they going to take those guys that didn't pan out because he signed at Alabama. And it's what they signed at Alabama or Tennessee, whoever, Florida State or Ohio State, right? They don't pan out. They leave. They get transfer portal. Those 1AA guys are going to take them because of where they were at. Not because they're a freaking good football player. Because of where they're at. So now those guys who were there went to the 1AA schools, and those kids at 1AA, hey, well, I'm not playing here. I'm going to leave. Because they're bringing all these other cats in. So it goes down to D2, NAIA, D3. Well, where's high school athletes that fit in? Buddy, you're going to end up being a walk-on someplace. You go on and perform, and you get a chance to perform, and you do well. You enter the transfer portal, and you'll move up that ladder. And that's how it works. You know what I mean?
It's almost like a farm system.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it is very much so. A farm system like baseball. You know what I mean? Minor league baseball. It's crazy because I'll sit here and be honest with you. I think Dallas Williamson and Braden Griffin and Emmett and Churchwell and Letterman Marion, all those guys can play college football. And I'm sure I forgot something. And you know what I mean? They can play college football, right? The recruiting process has been very stagnant to slow for all those guys. Because they're 100 plus tacklers, you know what I mean? 3,000 career yard rusher, almost 1,000-yard receiver this year, and come on now, I mean, it's not like they're bad football players.
Well, how much do you think that the extra signing day has changed the landscape as well? Because it almost feels like everybody's in a rush to get those top guys that you're talking about today, but then when the one comes in February, that's when. Do you see an uptick at that point for some of your guys?
For our guys, we're a February signing day, the original signing day, the first Wednesday in February, and that's where most of our kids will be, right? We've got one that'll be a early signee guy, probably next year. So I mean, it's definitely challenging to keep the kids who are recruitable athletes, and Maddux will sit here and tell you, right? It's frustrating to him. I hear me and him talk about recruiting with baseball recruiting and stuff like that. I said, man, it's frustrating. I get it, but you can't allow the frustration to set in, because you just got to keep doing what you do, right? Well, for us, football's over with, so we can't do anything but sit here. And all I can do is send texts, send emails, and hopefully they're going to read what I send to them, right? And that's even some of my good friends. You hope they read it. You hope they follow through and watch the video. Because you don't know. I mean, and it's just like...
Well, unless they have the
read
receipts.
Right? Yeah, but you know what? Those jokers don't have it on. And I don't blame them.
I don't either.
So, I do. So, I want you to know I read it. So, you can't say I didn't read your stuff. So, I mean, I just think it's so hard, man, the recruiting and keeping the kids motivated. Because it was hard for her going through COVID, right? Just watching it go through her. As a dad, just watching it. And I know the process, right? And I sit here and watch Maddux go through the process. And I know how hard it is on him. You know what I mean? And I know the frustration. But like I tell everybody, there's a place for everybody to play. Right? In minor sports that don't have the equivalencies, the total number of scholarships that football have, right? Basketball is one that has an equivalency number that you can put. You got enough scholarships for everybody you have on your team for the most part, right? Softball, baseball don't, right? Just don't. Soccer don't. Volleyball don't. That's what they call minor sports. And even though baseball is baseball and softball, but softball is the fastest growing sport in the NCAA sports right now, right? Baseball is the second most, probably to me, in the minor sports is the second most. For me, that's a biased view, right?
Sure.
But I watch baseball and softball both in college baseball. Don't watch professional baseball. Slow to me, right? College baseball and softball they're faster.
To me, college athletics in general are just
better.
It's not that they're better, because I mean, obviously the quality you're going to get out of the professionals is going to be better.
Sure.
But you've got elite on elite.
Sure.
So there's not as much room for mistakes.
Yeah.
In college, you got room for mistakes, which lends to exciting plays,
Sure.
exciting moments, like
Yeah.
Auburn, Alabama, 4th and 31.
Right. Yeah. No doubt. You know, I mean, and Maddux can talk a little bit about the recruiting process and how it's been for him and how frustrating it is, right?
Yeah, it's very frustrating. Slow. But at the end, you just got to trust the process and keep going until you figure out where you're going to land up.
Well, I mean, because you've seen firsthand some of your teammates that have gone on. Drew Potts is one that comes to mind right off the top of my head from last year. Kind of signed late in the process, but still everything fell in place for him, right at the end.
Yeah, I think it's true. I think JUCO baseball is definitely a big route for a lot of people now. You see a lot of Division I schools just taking a lot from JUCO. So.
Well, I mean, even Walter State. I mean, how many guys end up going there and then they get offers to go to?
Well, not only that, they get drafted to come. They get drafted to go to the major leagues and never play a pitch or play in Division I or any other college baseball.
Yeah.
Right. So, and Carson even had one of the best softball teams in the nation last year in junior college. I mean, and they're 15 minutes up the road.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, two of the best junior college programs in those minor sports that you can have right here in our back door.
Walter State is one of the best to produce baseball players, and we hear it even all the way out in Mississippi too. Because we have, I want to say we have one from there, but I can't quote. I don't know that for sure. That went there.
I mean, it's unreal. I mean, like you said, and the fact that it's right in our backyard, and they do compete at such an elite level.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
In all their sports, basketball, you know what I mean? They've been really good in basketball
Mhm.
for a long time, you know what I mean? So, I mean,
and you go there, and I mean, it's 3 or 4 buildings, and
Yeah, that's
there's not
it.
a whole lot there.
No, you're right behind the mall in Marshtown.
Heart of Morristown.
What do you think about Morristown?
I don't like it at all.
Where you do your shopping then?
Knoxville.
Okay. All right, that's fair. Back to the original question, though. When you signed, do you remember anything about that day, that process?
Well, no, not really, because I was recruited by everybody. If you mentioned in school, I was probably recruited by them, right? So, I mean, that process of it was just trying to figure out where you wanted to go to school, you know what I mean? And the crazy part was, Mike Berry, who ended up being my offensive line coach at Tennessee my last 2 seasons there, was the offensive line coach at Colorado and USC. Both of those schools recruited me heavily. You know what I mean? He went from USC to Colorado. And you know what I mean? I would love, if I had to do it over again, I'd take a visit to Colorado just to say I went and did it and check it out as the campus. But I've been there as an adult. It's absolutely one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my entire life when it goes to being in Boulder. The background of the stadium is truly right in the mountain, right? And you can be any place you want to be and hop on a plane and you're a 2.5 hour flight, 3 hour flight, home, whatever, you know what I mean? But you just didn't do that in that time, right? For me to come home, it was on my dime. If I would have went there. Well, for Catelyn to come home, they pay for her to come home once a year.
It's awesome.
So for me, every time I'd go in and out, I'd have to pay to go fly in and out, right? Which I probably would have never came home. Which if you'd asked my mom and dad, you know, when I was at Tennessee, I never came home anyways. And I was 30 minutes down the road. You know what I mean? And that's what college is about, right? We seen Catelyn one time this fall.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Well, we've seen her twice. We've seen her Thanksgiving and the weekend. That's all we've seen her. You know what I mean? From late July on. Well,
Now, granted, if you didn't have the responsibilities that you have as a coach, would that be any different?
yeah, I wouldn't drive down there just to be driving down there.
Okay.
Just to,
I wouldn't
So-
come home.
Okay.
so she probably would come home, and I probably wouldn't make the trips. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I see them a lot in the spring. Like,
Yeah.
I'll see them a lot more in the spring than I do in the fall, just because of, like, I'm playing, I'm doing stuff, and, like, they
And
have
I'm
a-
not. You know
and
what
they
I
have
mean?
something to come do in
Right.
Oxford. So it makes it a lot better for them to come down and see people and hang out and that kind of stuff. Because they've gotten really close with some of my teammates' parents as well, which is really nice to, like, have those people down there that they can go tailgate before the games with and all that kind of stuff, and, like, hang out and build those relationships, which is really nice for them to have.
We enjoy our tailgating part. You know what I mean? Down there in Oxford, they party in the SIP for even. You know what I mean? It's a great party down there.
You were talking about, you know, you had all these schools that recruited you. What was the decision for you for Tennessee? I mean, did you always know that you wanted to go there? Was it
No. Be
you
close-
wanted to go somewhere you wanted to win? What was it?
No, just to be close to home, right? Being close to home with my mom and dad right down the road. So that's really why, to be honest with you. That's why I wanted to be close to home. Just be where my parents could come and watch me. I didn't want to be selfish.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
They invested a lot. they sacrificed a lot, and I wanted them to be able to do that, and that was fun. My parents didn't miss many football games with me when I was at UT either. So that was one of the things that I tried to do. And so what we're trying to do with Catelyn is not miss as many ball games.
Her going to Ole Miss, how hard? I mean, was that difficult for you at all as a parent? Becoming your child's going away.
I told her, I said, I didn't care where you went to school,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you didn't go to Alabama. Didn't care. I said, if you went to Alabama, don't come home.
No, like that for real though. Like,
For real now, that's not a joke. That's legit facts.
I can believe that.
That's facts being stated in this room right now, right?
What is it? We don't give a.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang.
Not the whole state.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, no, it wasn't hard. You know what I mean? Because as a parent, you raise your children to grow up and to move off and make. If I didn't think she was ready and we didn't prepare her to be able to make those adult decisions as 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid, I wouldn't let her go. But my wife did a great job raising her. You know what I mean? Let's be honest, because when she was younger and I was coaching college football, I was never home. You know what I mean? So my wife would be like a single mom. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that went involved into it, and I got to experience her last year in middle school and her high school career, and be a part and be able to help make sure she understood those foundations of making the right choices, right? And we talk about it in our program. You make choices and you have to live by them. For every choice you make, there's a consequence, good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to learn to live with those, and you better think about them. And that's something that we preach and talk about, and we've talked about since she was a little kid, and that's something that I talk to our football players about.
Catelyn, he's mentioned a couple of times that he thinks that there's some of his players that you could probably take on with since you got in the weight program at Ole Miss.
I've never said that.
No.
Yeah, you have.
No, she'll whip you.
She'd whip Raw.
It's definitely you and Rob both together for sure. Bro.
What's that? I mean, what was that transformation like going from high school to college?
it was really hard, I'm not gonna lie. The first year I was down there, I wanted to come home so quickly because I genuinely didn't think I could do it. But I looked at my coaches and I was like, if I go home, I will not come back. And they said, all right, so what are we going to do about it? And we stuck to the plan, and I grew a lot both as a player and as a person my first year there because I had to be able to survive on my own. And that was a hard transition that I didn't realize it was going to be as hard as it was. And no one really talks about because it's like, oh, it's all fine and dandy, but what are you going to do when you're up at 3 a.m. studying for a test and you have 6 a.m. weights the next day? Or you're up, you go to sleep and the fire alarm gets pulled and you still have 6 a.m. weights the next day. And those are things people don't talk about because it's not the prettiness of college athletics because it doesn't fit into the bubble of everything's perfect. But it's the reality of it, and I think it needs to be talked about more just because it's something that is not easy.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought for sure you were gonna tell me that you called home and all he said was toughness is a choice. And
Oh, no.
you already had that running in your head.
Oh, yeah.
She knew better to call me.
I called Mama.
She didn't call me and tell me. Her mama did. I said, well, you want me to call her and talk to her? She goes, nope. I said, okay. I said, if she comes home, she ain't come staying. I'll tell you that much.
No, but it was the weight transformation, like in the weight room too, like that outside of like school and stuff was very different for me because like it being in a weight room consistently and having the strength and conditioning that we do is I put on a significant amount of weight between my senior year of high school and me today just because of the weight program we're on and growing and developing as a person as well. So it's been something that I've had to learn to adjust with just because of like with female athletes, it's harder to see that number on the scale change. And it was hard for me the first couple times I stepped on the scale and I was like, oh crap, this is all right. And then it's been like a growing process to like accept for my body for what it is and how powerful I am and that kind of stuff. And like my body does everything it needs me to do. So I can't be mad at it. So
I imagine you've seen a pretty nice uptick in your fastball.
Very much so. Very, very much so. I developed about 4 to 5 miles an hour between me getting to college and my senior year. So it has been very well developed. So
You mentioned you were coaching college before coming here. What was all that like? What was a typical week like for you coaching in college?
Well, let's start on a Monday. Well, let's start from game day because that'll be the easiest, right?
Okay.
So we have a game day. I'll get to the office around 6:30 in the morning, then for a 3:00 game, and get ready because I was also the equipment guy. I had to handle all the equipment stuff with my equipment staff, make sure everything was going. Also had recruits on campus that day as well. Had to get up the recruiting process, the recruiting stage set up and all that stuff. So this is before 12 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock that before then. And then we had pregame meal and then had meetings and all that stuff. And then we played a game, right? So it'd be say it's a 3 o'clock kickoff. We get done about 6, right? 6 o'clock ball game. Get all the laundry stuff started, collected from the game. That earlier about 7:30, and then about that time the film will be done, and I'll start watching the ball game and breaking it down, and leave about midnight and 1 o'clock. Drive about 40 minutes home, and then on Sunday have a staff meeting at 11 o'clock in the morning, and we would meet as staff. Then we would have our Sunday would be an off day for our kids. So we would we'd meet as staff, as a whole staff, talk about the game, all that stuff, have all our grades done by our 3:30 position meeting, our coaches meeting, offensive meeting, and then we would finish up our breakdown of our next opponent on Sunday, get together till about watch film with them till about 11 o'clock at night, go home, be back in the office for 6 a.m. staff meeting or 6 a.m. Position meeting for the next week opponent with my kids. Have a staff meeting at 8:30. Then I would go after I get done with my staff meeting, that whole staff meeting. We'd have an offensive meeting. We get done with that about 10:30, 11. I'd go and ride a bike, walk on the treadmill, do something. Then go to lunch, and then we come back and go to practice. And when practice was over with, we watch film, and then be back till about 7, 8 o'clock, and 9, do some recruiting calls then, and then go home.
We're only
6
on
o'clock.
Tuesday, aren't
Yeah.
we? I'm tired
So-
already.
So this was a daily basis, right? Till
You pretty much got to learn to love it.
Yeah, but on Thursdays, I'd be home. Thursdays, I would be home. Thursday, Friday were my early days, right? So I'd be home by 3 o'clock on Thursday and Friday. So,
So Thursday and Fridays basically became your weekend, even though you still had to have responsibilities.
yeah.
How many
So if
years-
you really want to know what my day was like, I was working 80 hours a week, every bit of 80 plus hours a week.
And this is at Tusculum,
Yeah.
right? So, smaller college.
Same
grind.
grind, same lot less pay,
Yeah.
same grind. But the best part about it was this. It was the relationship I had with my players. I don't know how many of those kids call me and text me Christmas, Thanksgiving. We talk, they've had kids. We meet up. They come driving through. We'll meet up and have dinner or lunch or breakfast or something with them as they drive through and see the kids and see them and their wives, and just watching them all have families now just makes me feel really old, but it also very special, too, to be part of their life and in that very life-changing time for them, being college athletes, that you spend a lot more time with them than their parents do, right? And you can help persuade them in directions that you see somebody sliding off one direction, you can kind of guide them back. And one of my former players and one of my best friends in the world played for me when I was at West Georgia. He's got 2 kids now and married. You know what I mean? And he's head coach at Pope High School, and you know what I mean. When he was in college, it was a struggle with him for sure. You know what I mean? It was we had our conversations, and he has dual citizenship. He's an Irishman. He's from Ireland. So
I think I see why you can get along with him.
So he had some struggles growing up in America. You know what I mean? So he partaked a little bit too much when he was in college, and
Gotcha.
we had to have some conversations and had to do some things, and you know. But our relationship, because of that, is why we are like dad and son. You know what I mean? It's really not a dad and son relationship. It's more like a older brother son relationship, and it's that right there to me is what coaching's about.
You've got one of your former players on your staff now, too, right?
Yes.
Wagner?
Yeah, forgot about that.
What do you mean you forgot?
I forgot he was one of my former players. Yes, Jeremy is one of my former players. We had some struggles too, you know, when he was a college athlete. You know what I mean? He was coming back out of the military. You know what I mean? And was dealing with some really tough time, right? And just see how much he's changed and how much we've walked through things and helped him through things, and he's helped me through things. But man, I mean, having those relationships with those kids, it's unbelievable. There'll be nothing that I cherish more than those relationships. And Catelyn will tell you, we talk all the time, and they remember Catelyn from when she was little, and they talk about her, and it's just fun to get with those guys and spend time and catch up with families and stuff, and you know, and it's one of those special moments that I'll never forget, being a college football coach. You know what I mean? And when I first got here, you know what I mean, that's what I thought I was really good at, was relationships. And dealing with relationships with high school athletes, totally different. It's hard. It's so much harder, right? Because you got mom. I mean, it's because, you know, for me, I had to adjust because there was another piece we had to involve. When I got to college, I didn't have to worry about mom and dad, right? Because I was mom and dad, right? And now here, I spend a little more time with I spend more time with the kids in this building than I did with my own kid. Every day, right? And I feel like I'm invested in their lives more right now than most parents, because they're here around us every day, right? And trying to make sure they do what they're supposed to, do it right way, hear the right things, do the right things, and be an example for them, right? And early on in my career, it was a struggle, you know what I mean? And getting kids to understand that you do love them. Max will tell you, I tell everybody in the school, I don't care who you are, hey, I make sure I tell them, hey, I love you. Everybody needs to hear you love them. It doesn't matter, because that's how you start to gain trust with people, if they know you care about them. And that's how we changed our program. You know what I mean? With our run program and what we believe and how we preach and demand respect. You know what I mean? That's the first thing we talk about, is respect. You know what I mean? How do you get respect? If you want respect to this kid, how do you get it? We're going to show you.
Outside of the relationships, is there anything you miss about the college game?
Yeah, probably the recruiting part, but
Really?
the old recruiting part.
Okay.
Not today's world.
Well, still, I mean,
That was fun.
recruiting itself was a grind, though.
Yeah, but it's relationships, though. You know what I mean? Today was one of one of the kids I recruited from Georgetown, South Carolina. We went to Anderson High School over there. Andrews High School over there in Georgetown, South Carolina. He played quarterback. He's about 6'4", 150 pounds when I found him. Not very good academically. Little small town in the low country of South Carolina. We get him on campus. He was a quarterback. Never going to play quarterback for us. His name was Kenny Funny. Okay?
That's funny.
It is funny. And him and another kid by the name of Justin Houston, both of them, I was the lead on the recruiting, and I was secondary on Justin, who was a Bradley Central guy out of Chattanooga. We get both of those kids to come to Tuscaloosa. Both were All-Americans as juniors and seniors in college. They both have college degrees. I've seen Kenny, today's his birthday, seen him with his little boy, and Justin just got married. You know, that's when you get to me, they'll know, and getting to know their mamas and daddies, man, because I mean, not two of the best socioeconomic places I've ever been in my entire life, where both of those kids came from, right? So you see it all. You know what I mean? Before I came here, I could walk in, going any place in Jefferson County wouldn't shock me, because I've been in probably worse. You know, I've been in homes that are dirt floors, right? And I've been in $600 million homes in Atlanta. Come on now. I mean, you learn to deal with all aspects. That's why coming here, it's kind of, you're dealing with a certain clientele, you know what I mean? But in college athletics, you got to learn how to deal with from the poorest of poor to the richest of rich. And you got to learn to be able to communicate with those kids, right? And their parents. And they just like, and I'm just, to how I am today is how I'm just matter of fact and to the point. That's how I was with those people. And they really, really appreciate that. So.
Whenever the opportunity came to come here, what about it was the right time?
Well, she was getting ready. It was really because of her, to be honest with you, because I'd missed so much of her life and put her and my wife on the back burner, lack of a better term, right? Because of my profession, trying to move up in that world. And the rat race just wasn't worth the sacrifice of not knowing your kid and not spending quality time with your wife. My wife has been supportive in every move we've ever made. You know what I mean? And we talk about it all the time. We wouldn't change what we ever did. Has it been hard? Has it been struggles? Yes. You know what I mean? And here we've had our struggles, right? It's never easy. You know what I mean? This to me, this is the hardest job I've ever had. And I tell people, if you ever go home to eat, go back to your home where you went to school and you played. It'll be the hardest job you ever have. You will lose friends, and you will gain friends. And that's facts. It has happened to me here. Perfectly okay with that. Doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't lose no sleep over it. Right? Because I am who I am, right? I'm in Jefferson County. I was born and raised on Old Danders Pike in New Market, Tennessee. And this is where I'm from. My wife's from Knoxville. This is where we're from. We plan on being here for the rest of our lives until she decides she's going to make me move to the beach, and I don't want to do that. But she may make me do that at some point in time, or have to go down there and spend some time. But, you know what I mean? This is where we're going to be. This is where her mom and dad's from Knoxville. My mom still lives in Old Danders Pike. And, you know what I mean? So I love being home. It's a great place. Definitely challenges. I have the best administration. I have the best principal, best superintendent. We have the best support staff that you could ask for in this building, daily basis. Couldn't ask for better. You know what I mean? My wife has been supportive, the whole thing, and I don't tell you that enough, right? You know, and a lot of people don't see my wife around very much because she doesn't.
I see her after every game.
Yeah, because she comes up and gives me a kiss no matter what, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Tells me I'm either good or I'm bad. So there's no gray area in my household. You either suck or you don't suck. So
Sucks, don't suck.
that's exactly right. So I mean, it's fun, man. I mean, it's fun being home. I've gotten to do a lot more things that I would never got to do with her and with my wife. And Randy and Tommy allow me to run my program as I see fit. And if they feel like there's a suggestion to be made, we'll listen to the suggestion. We may not always agree, and that's okay, because if you agree, you're never gonna move forward. You know what I mean? You're always trying to push the envelope to be the best you can be, and you're always trying to fight for your program and what you need and things of that nature. And you know what I mean? So moving forward, you know, we're just trying to, as a football program and trying to be here and trying to make things better, we're trying to build a facility, an athletic facility for football, so we can turn that weight room over to all the other athletes here on this campus, to where they're not fighting for spaces to lift, right? Trying to make it better for all athletes by us getting out of their way and moving in where they can have that facility and train all teams in there. Because if we do it right, you'll be able to train 3 different sports in there at any given time. As long as we're not there. And now you can't train nobody but 30 kids at a time right now in there, and for us. So.
Was there anything that surprised you about the transition going from college and then, not even going from college to high school, but being here at your home? Were there any challenges that surprised you?
Yeah, a lot. When I first got here, I thought, and I hadn't been, look, guys, I moved off and came back. So there for about a 10 to 15 year period, I followed, but I wasn't a part, so I didn't know, right? So when I got back here, everybody talked about how the community was not really involved, right? And I was kind of shocked about that, right? Because it wasn't the fact when I was growing up and playing here, because there was tons of people, right? And then still, today, that's probably still the biggest shocker to me, is how the community is very supportive, right? But it doesn't. The people who are not from here don't care about the athletics and coming and watching. They just don't care about coming and watching, right? And I hope they don't take that the wrong way, but at the end of the day, if you care about your programs and your high school sport teams, you'd be here. It doesn't matter what it is. In this community. And I try to support every business in this community. And you know what I mean? And I try to do things and try to be supportive and try to be productive of all our athletic teams here, right? I can't get to a golf match because 90% of the time it's playing when we're playing, right? I try to get to everybody's sporting event, at least one, right? And that's taking away time from my family, right? But these kids invest their time, so at least this community can do is to invest their time in coming and watching them and supporting them. You know what I mean? In one way or the other. I think that's the biggest thing for me about that. The shock of this when I first came back here is how that has trended more towards the right direction, right? But when I first got here, I was like, wow, it was bad. It was really bad.
Well, you talk about the students showing up, and obviously
Maddux.
you had a big hand in that this year. I know you brought up, even after the Bearden game,
Yeah.
it was one of the best student sections that you've had since you've been
It's the
here.
best student section in the state, man. I'm telling you. If not the country, I'm telling you, they're awesome. They were so much fun to be around. They do a great job. They have a good time. They enjoy coming to football games. They enjoyed it this year. You know what I mean? And sometimes, in previous years, there wasn't a lot of things to be excited about. They just weren't. Let's call it how it is. I'm the first one to tell you. It wasn't very fun to go 0-18. Kind of sucked, you ask me. You know what I mean? Kind of hard. It's not like we're sitting over here trying to lose football games. It was not like we were trying to do that. We were working just as hard when we were 0-18 as when we were 10-2 this year.
You weren't trying to move up the ladder in the fantasy draft?
Not trying to, no. Trying to get out of that fantasy draft right there, right? So, but, our kids, they took the leadership and the ownership of it, and they have pride in their school. There's more pride in this school today than they were when I first got here, and I'm proud of that. And if there's one thing that my parents always said, doesn't matter. You always try to leave it better than when you found it. And that's everybody's goal as the coach, as the principal, as the superintendent of this institution. I'm speaking in reference to them, because if we all can leave it better than we found it, we've done our job.
You bring up, obviously, those couple of rough years.
Let's talk about it.
Were there conversations that happened? Because you talked about how.
Yeah, I walked right in Randy Rogers' office and said, "Well, are we going to fire me or are we going to stay?"
So you jumped the gun on it.
No, I'm not. I'm a realist,
Sure.
right?
I didn't necessarily mean like that, though. I just meant just any conversations in general. It's just like, hey, what? Because you gave you continue to give so much credit to the administration.
Yeah, they give me the support, right?
Well, that's the thing. Were they coming to you saying, hey, what can we do to help fix things? Or I mean,
Well,
what was that timeline like?
Well, it kind of, you know, it was around COVID, right?
Yeah, the 0-10 year was COVID.
COVID, right?
Yes.
And it was, you know, I mean, we were handcuffed with what we could do. With our previous superintendent, there was a lot of things were put in place to where how you could train, how you cannot do things, and how, you know, it's just in general, there's things they didn't want you to do because you were in a pandemic, right?
I mean, leading up to the season, we didn't even know if we were going to have a season.
Which we knew we were. I mean, everybody
knew it was going to happen.
We knew it was going to happen, right? As a
Yes.
football coach, we knew it was going to happen. But here's the bad part: we couldn't train like a football team could train. Supposed to train. We had to wipe off a football every time somebody touched it. I said, well, what's the difference when we go out here and we're sweating and we're breathing on top of somebody when we're blocking somebody? I said, what are we going to do? Spray stuff on them? I'm like, man, come on.
Get a little
Yeah, I'm like,
Lysol and
I'm like, come on now. I said, we're going to have to start training this way or we're going to be in bad shape. Well, guess what?
bad shape.
Bad shape. You know what I mean? Everybody else was training the way you're supposed to train. And we weren't. And you know, at some point in times in your life, you get handcuffed, and you're trying to figure out how to get the handcuffs broke. That set us back, right? Which is fine. It is what it is. We learn from that. I tell everybody, I learned more from that season than I learned from anything. I learned more from that 0-10 season than I did winning 10 football games. I didn't do anything different, per se, other than install our run program. That's it. Right? Learn to teach respect and unity and ability. We want to stand for what we believe in. We're going to be respectful about it, and we're going to be the best people that we could be on a daily basis. And I've said it I've been coaching in over 20 years, and my goal is this: is when I get to be with a kid, I want them to be better sons. I want them to know how to be a father and a husband when they leave me. Because if we can change one person, I can change one person in this world, and they change one person, now we've changed the world. And that's what coaching is to me. It's what coaching is to my coaches. Are we hard on our kids? Yes. Are we demanding? Yes. You know what I mean? To say the least, right? And they'll tell you that. But they also know I love them. They also hear me tell them, and they hear their coaches tell them I love them, and they love them. But that's the reason we changed is the reason this program and the conversations came about is because we love what we do. We love the people we're around. I love being around Randy Rogers every day. I love being around Tommy Arnold every day and our support staff in this building. Love being around them. I don't have a job. This is not a job. I love what I do. So, you know, you really want to be honest with you. You love what you do, and you never work a day in your life.
Sure.
You love what you do. You don't really work a day in your life.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I hope my daughter and I hope Max get to have that in their lives, right? Because it's not everybody loves what they do. It's a job. You know what I mean? I ain't got one. I just get to go to work and coach football and be around kids every day and try to lead them in the right direction. So I hope I answered that, but I don't know if I did.
Going back to that timeline, I know that at the end of the 0-10 season, 17 straight losses, I know that she was also getting ready to graduate, move on to Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Did it ever cross your mind, I can just give this up and go be a dad, or were you committed to getting this thing turned around?
Oh, I was committed. Come hell or high water. They're either going to die here or we're going to change it. After we went 0-10, after the ball game, I walked in the coach's office. I'll tell this story today. I'll tell it to my coaches. I said, guys, I don't care. I said, I've done it. I've tried to do things to appease some other people in this community, and I'm not doing that. I said, I'm going to be who I am every day of the week, and I don't care. I said, if you don't want to be a part of this, get up and leave. right now, turn your stuff in, no hard feelings. But we're going to change. You're getting ready to see who I really am. Sometimes you ain't going to like it. And sometimes you're going to love it. More times than not, you're going to love it. But I'm going to be demanding of you, and you're going to start doing things the way I need you to do it. Because if not, you won't be a part. And that's what I told her kids. You know what I mean? I'm not bashful to sit here and tell you. I'll get rid of, if a kid don't want to do what we're going to ask him to do, he can leave. Doesn't matter. I set that groundwork a couple of years. Everybody would think a year ago, but it's been set prior to that. But it doesn't matter who you are. Do what we asked, or don't do what we asked, and you'll either be a part or you won't be a part.
Did you expect the turnaround to come as quick as it did? Because, that next year you win 6 games, even had to fall on a backup quarterback towards the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Next year, 7 games, and then, of course, this year happens. The last 3 years you guys have won 23 games.
Yeah, did I expect it to turn around? Yeah, I did. I expected it to
But
turn
as
around.
fast as it did.
Yeah, I did. I expected it to do that. Because when you start believing in each other, and you're playing for the guy beside you, not with the guy beside you, but playing for him, everybody starts moving in an upward direction. Now look, sometimes we just got beat. It's simple. That happens. That happens in sports. Sometimes you just get beat. They're just better than you. Were they better than us that first year? Some teams, yeah. Next year, a few less teams were better than us. This year, a lot less teams were better than us. Right? And I credit that to this senior class for buying in and believing in what we asked them to do. They didn't have to. They could have left. They chose to stick it out. And I told them, I said, look, this is going to be hard, but we're going to change it. It's going to start with y'all. And it sure did. And they believed in it, and they went on with it, and they ran with it.
We've talked about this already, but how much did this year mean to you personally, just because of everything that happened even before the season started?
Well, it's really fun, especially when you have some people that really want you to fail, and they have to eat the cake. And it's really fun to watch them have to do that. I'm just going to be honest. For me, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that part of it, but probably the most fun part was watching these kids have fun, winning football games, winning close football games. Man, not all of them were exciting. Not all of them were pretty by no means, right? But we found a way to win. At the end of the day, that's what you want, right? Find a way to win, survive and advance, and you get in the playoffs. That's what it's about. It's who can practice the hardest and survive during the playoffs. That's who's going to win. And you got to make some plays when your number's called, and during those times. And that, to me, that's the fun part, man. You got to play. This year was kind of weird. We had the region pretty much sewed up after week 5.
Mm-hmm.
We really week 6, I guess.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to figure out. For me, it was harder to coach in the second half of the year than it was the first half. Right? Trying to figure out how to keep these kids focused on the task at hand. And that was winning every ball game from here on out. Right? We all knew we were going to host a playoff game. We knew we were going to be the number 1 team in the region and going to host a playoff game for the first time in 20-some years. Right? And leading up to that week, trying that last week of the season when we were playing William Blount here, and I'm like, oh, man, let's just – everybody's like, hurry up, let's get it over with, right? And I'm like, because I'm worried about this game, because this game matters for momentum moving forward, right?
Sure.
Well, we come out in the first half, it's a freaking tie football game.
Yeah, their quarterback's playing like.
Yeah, look, he's just running around. He's a really good football player. Run around backwards, throwing it 40 yards down the field. Come on now. Does a lot of things that he does. He's just a good football player. We didn't do a very good job tackling him early on and stuff like that. Come out in the second half and we roll off, 35 points, something like that.
I think that's a conservative number.
No, I think 35 was it.
Come on, the third quarter.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, no, just second half in
Second
general.
half?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I quit looking because it got
They
up to
didn't
60.
score.
They didn't
They didn't
score.
score.
We
I
had-
think you
they scored
actually-
60 something points.
No,
didn't we?
I think you actually got to 70. I think that's when you reset the scoring record.
Oh, yeah. See, that's what I forget about football games. I don't really know. But so, everybody asked me, "What'd you say to them?" I said, "I didn't say anything to them other than, hey, you put yourself in the spot. We're going to figure out what type of football team you want to be moving forward to the next 5 weeks." That's all I said. Walked out of the locker room. Right? Come out and we do what we did. We come out the next week. Now that's when it's the fun time, right? We've played all year long to get to play or go home, right? To me, there's nothing better than play or go home, right? In tournament time, there's nothing better than that because the rest of it just gets you up to this point. And Maddux and Catelyn play a sport to where all they do is try to play to get to the tournament, right? Because that's when it matters. Let's just be honest. In baseball and softball, play to get to the tournament. Golf, same way. Play to get to the tournament, right? In football, it's not really that way. You got to do a lot of work early just to make it, right? But we made it so early this year, it was a grind to keep that momentum moving forward, right? Very blessed with how our kids handle that. As we move forward in the playoffs, the team out of the draw that we got, Cleveland, in round one, is not the one I wanted. I would have played anybody but them, right?
It was funny that you told us, I think, back at week 5 or week 6, that you thought that they were the best team in that region, and then they fell to 4th.
I still think they are the best team in that region, right? I mean,
how much fun was it game planning for them? Because you said that they did some of the most random stuff.
It sucked. I mean, I spent more time that week, and I started on Saturday, where usually you don't start on until Sunday. We usually don't start till Sunday. Actually, we started a week before. Let's just call it how it was. So we started working on Cleveland on the week before because, we knew where we were at, right? And I spent over an hour working just on kickoff return because I knew they were going to onside kick every time, right? And they did, right?
They did.
So
Every
time, except for one time.
One time.
One time they didn't,
and they
right?
recovered most of them.
They recovered 2 of the 4 opportunities they had.
Okay. It
Okay.
felt like more.
Oh yeah,
They did.
100%. It sure did. Sure did, my friend. Sure did. From this seat right here, going, this is not very fun. So can we get a stop and not let them score, right? That's where we don't have to field an onside kick. But you know what? Bryson Letterman, both of them were to him, right? The first one, he just hit him right in the chest. He just misplayed it, right? And the next one,
Third one, got a good kicker,
Bell.
placed it perfectly.
yeah, it was just boom, boom, over his head. Come on now. If we get one of those two, if we get one of those, it's not a contest.
Sure.
Right. But they got 2 of them, and it made it interesting, and it was just definitely like, oh, my hair's going to fall out here. And then, hey, we win the football game, and we go on about our business. We knew they couldn't stop us running a football. We knew that.
And they couldn't stop you throwing at Deshaun Jackson.
No, either.
Yeah.
So, and we knew that, and we knew we got the beard, and we knew what we were going to have, right? We knew it was going to be a rock fight, and
There was actually more points scored than I thought that there would be.
yeah, I thought we would score more points, but I thought we would hold them a little bit less. Let's be honest with you, because I didn't. The quarterback made some really good plays he had not made all year. And that's what we said we were going to make him do, is make some plays, and he did. We tip our hat to him when they get to move on and we have to go home. I would have loved to have my opportunities at Bradley Central because, I still think they would have been able to stop us running the football either. So, and everybody, we played all year long, had a hard time with that, and I don't see that would have been any different.
Early in the year, you take the loss to Oak Ridge, obviously. Make some
Did
changes
we?
on the offensive line. Yeah, you did.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I tried.
I do. I'll never forget it because
Try to forget that.
the first question I asked you and the first answer I get, we can't air that though. Still though, you make some changes on the offensive line after that. Obviously, that seemed to help.
Yeah, well, we going into that week, we had some injuries, right? So we were trying to see if we could. We knew what we wanted and we knew what we had, but we just wasn't ready to put that piece back in there, right?
Young quarterback.
And young quarterback, first start ever.
Since middle school.
You know what I mean?
Big difference.
So I mean, and Matt's right. You have a quarterback makes his first start, right? And he didn't know nothing, right? And we're just trying to keep him from. We didn't want him to throw it 70 times, right? We just didn't want him to, right? And we just did. We weren't very physical up front, and it was very, very disheartening because I thought that was where we were going to be pretty good, right? We made
Turned out you were.
Yeah, it turned out we were. You know what I mean? And at the end of the ball game, we were down there talking. And I had my back to Oak Ridge. And our kids were watching them. I said, "You see that?" I said, "Remember that. Let it burn in your eyes. Let it burn in your brain, memory. And don't ever feel that way again. Don't ever let it feel that way again." And they didn't until week 12, which sucks when you lose in week 12. 13, week 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It sucks when you lose there. But there's only one winner, guys. At the end of the day, there's only one winner. Everybody else ends up being losers.
I mean, that's the thing. Do you? I mean, because they accomplish so much, do you
Oh, it's
help
a very
them keep it in
perspective.
perspective?
You know, I mean, it is what it is, right? We lost a football game. You had a very productive and successful year. I mean, anytime you win 10 football games, you've had a pretty good year. You know what I mean? Even 8 football games is pretty impressive in high school football, all right? Especially in the region we play in and our schedule. You know what I mean? It's not like we scheduled a bunch of cupcakes this year. You know what I mean? Kind of worked out that way, kind of towards the end of the year. Didn't think so. You know what I mean? I would have never thought.
Farragut would be that bad.
No. Would have been as bad as, it wasn't very good this year.
It's very surprising.
You know what I mean? And, William Blunt, they're hard to deal with. And Westridge, you didn't know what you were going to get because they lost their quarterback. You know what I mean? You had no idea what they were going to do, give your due to you. And so, I mean, it was definitely challenging there towards the end. You know what I mean? Definitely, because we knew what we had going on. After we come back, we played Superior County and just was able to do whatever we wanted to against them. I'm like, well, that's the group I thought we were going to have, right? And then we go and we play, I guess Science Hill's the next one.
Yep, Science Hill and DB back to back.
Science Hill we play next, and I don't even remember how the ball game went, but I don't think they stopped us running the football either, did they?
No.
First half, neither of yous got anything going. Second half, it became y'all just threw haymakers at each other,
Yeah,
basically.
that first touchdowns, Sanso just threw a Hail Mary on like 4th and 20.
Well, they recovered a muffed kick on the
Yeah.
opening kickoff.
Yeah.
You had to go up 7-0.
7-6.
7-6.
You guys were up 6-0 at the half.
I got you.
Because y'all went for it on 4th down. Mason throws one up
To
where
Letty.
Bryson got behind the defense.
I think the kick got blocked or something, I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then we play a freaking lightning damn delay ball game. Excuse my French there.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was a fun time.
That was a long night, man.
It was.
Long night for the kids, long night for their kids, you know what I mean?
Sparse crowd. You could hear Spencer yelling across the field.
Which was fine. I didn't care. Everybody could hear me yelling across the field. She can hear me yelling in a softball stadium.
Yeah, because I texted Mom. I said, "Has the game started yet?" Because I was looking for your updates. I keep up with you. Because
Thank you.
when you don't go fast enough, I text Mom. I'm like, "What's going on?"
It's a hassle. I've got a camera in one hand and a phone in the other.
Just start tweeting at him. Say, what's the score?
Yeah.
That's what you need to start doing.
Wouldn't be the
Sometimes
first
it gets a
Dennis
little
is very Twitter active right now.
He is.
He's upset.
slow.
Well, I'm a little less upset. Christmas is coming.
Ball humbug is what you feel like because Florida State got left out of the playoffs.
Okay, well, Christmas is canceled. Thanks for joining us.
Cancel.
You know, everybody understands that Dennis is a big Florida State fan, and when they were talking about we're in a group text with him and Rob, and I said, buddy, hate to tell you, but your boys are gonna get left out. And he says, no, they're not. I said, I'm telling you, your boys are going to get left out. I said, Georgia and Alabama were going to get in. That's what I said.
If that would have happened, I would have burned something.
So, and he still thought about burning something,
I wanted to. I wanted to get Bryson his golf simulator.
There you go.
So, what I mean?
Clear out some space.
So, my man, he's
If you want a new weight room, I can help you.
My man struggled.
If you got the
really,
insurance on it.
Really,
Insurance
bad.
claim.
Yeah, the insurance claim, sure. So, Dennis, I apologize. I'm sorry you didn't get your Christmas present.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the
New Year's Six bowl. I didn't.
But
even
I
talk.
will say this, like I told you, so I'm very thankful for Florida State playing backup quarterbacks. It gave me the opportunity to win a national championship.
Yeah.
What else you got to say about that?
Silent.
Do you ever show him your state championship ring every now and then? Just kind of, hey, I've got one you don't.
But understand this, she can't say that because I got 3 to her 1. So
He does.
she can't. She
I
don't.
also
I
don't-
got 2 SEC titles and she don't have any of
No,
that.
she's got a state title.
I have a national title. So hey,
When she drives in, she sees
Well,
she
that's
sees
the
softball
That's
state
the thing
champ.
with Charlie Woods. He's got a state title. His dad don't, but look how many wins he's got on the PGA Tour. 82 to 1.
Yeah, well, we're talking about state.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know where it is.
you
Like
could ask your
diploma for the
mother.
longest time.
Her mother knows where it's at. So.
Yeah, I handed it to her. I said, please don't let me lose this. That's what I do with all important documents.
Sounds about right. That don't change, by the way. I'm 30-something years old, and I'll still just about do the same.
Well, I know about wherever important document is I have to write it down. If I lose that piece of paper, I'm screwed.
Clerical responsibilities are
Yeah.
a choice.
Yeah, well, no, forgetfulness or whatever I have is not very good right now. And I'm like,
CTE.
That may be it.
Riley.
Maybe it.
I wrote a bunch
So-
of papers on that this year.
She's doing a lot of
CTE.
research on that. You know, because when my brother passed, he is in on that research study of CTE.
Oh,
So we actually going to get some results back here after the first year of some of the testing stuff, which is really interesting to find out about because there's no question that I probably have some of it. It just depends on how bad it is, right?
sure.
You know what I mean? And I would never change what I did for anything. Nothing. Because I enjoyed it. I'd do it again. I would never tell him, does your head hurt? No, not at all. I still do it today. Come on now. So,
Do you ever have do you have a favorite moment from your time
playing ball?
Yeah, playing ball, whether here or at UT? Minus the national championship. I'm sure that's...
No, really, it's probably not one of my favorite times.
Really?
Mhm.
Why?
It was just dude, it's another ball game, right? It's a big ball game.
Who'd y'all beat in the Natty, Coach Riley?
Yeah, Florida State. So
Yeah, did you know that Ohio State lost to Michigan State that year?
That's fine. I wasn't alive yet.
I hate all of you.
Probably, what do you mean about as a player? What I enjoy
Yeah,
about
as a player.
playing in the games, right? I mean, there's so many. I could say, probably one of the fondest, probably the worst memories I had was playing in Arkansas.
Would have been your senior year.
No, this was early. First ESPN2 broadcast game at 9:30.
Oh.
It was freaking sleeting, raining, snowing, and wind was blowing on in Arkansas, and it was awful. The most miserable I'd ever been in my entire life. We're playing in Little Rock.
Mhm.
Been playing Fayetteville until my senior year, right?
Yeah.
So it was miserable, hands down. It's Peyton Manning running a naked bootleg there towards the end, down in the end, going away from their end zone. So that was probably one of the most miserable times I've ever had. It's terrible, awful. Probably one of the most fun times is the day that we go to South Carolina and T. Martin throws for 21 consecutive passes and breaks an NCAA record. I had no idea. Guys, everybody they talk about breaking records. We didn't even know it happened until it happened,
Split.
right? Had no idea. Well, that was the fun part, South Carolina. That's when they had Steve Tannehill, and they were terrible. They were trash. Well, they probably still are terrible anyways, but
They got Butch Jones Light as their coach now.
Oh, really?
Who's
Yeah,
that?
well, yeah, Shane Beamer.
oh, okay. So I got you.
Beamer?
I'm probably going to Vanderbilt and going to Vandy Stadium and literally watching there was no gold or black in that stadium.
Frank
Yep.
Anderson.
So that was probably that's probably fun too, you know what I mean? But
It's always a good conversation
Yeah.
in my household, being from a Tennessee alum to my fiance who's a Vandy alum.
Yeah.
I took her to her first UT game and with Neyland
did
Stadium.
you convert her?
We were playing just some nobody team last year. I don't remember who it was. We had season tickets last year, so of course we got
Probably
to
like
see.
Akron.
We got to see like Bam, Bama game and all that good stuff. And I was sitting there, I was like, look around you right now. This is what college football is actually supposed to look like. So she was there for 4 years and she went to 2 games. So this is what football is.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
100% that is definitely the facts on that, right? And then, I got, cool thing is I got to play in one of the very last ball games in Legion Field.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's a neat place, right? Talk about places to play. Legion Field's a great place. It was an awesome place to play. Worst place I ever played was in the Rose Bowl. Terrible.
That still blows my mind.
Trash. You're so far away from everybody.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. And the inner workings, my mom and dad said it was terrible. Porta potties. What they had in there.
Let's say the place is
It's old.
It's old.
It's old, man. It's terrible. So, what other questions you want to know on that part of it? I'll tell you how. I'll tell you. You want to know. You wanted me to tell this, so I'm gonna tell it. So after the national championship game, we're all ready to leave, right? It's Al Gore's there with his wife Tipper and everybody, right? They're in the locker room. They're talking to us after the ball game. And,
Al Gore?
yeah, wasn't he the vice president?
Yeah.
Vice president.
Yeah.
Didn't even know he was there.
So yeah, because
I was 8, so.
I'm pretty sure he was vice president at that time. Right?
Yeah, he
I'm
was.
pretty sure,
He was.
right? So, you're thinking about all this stuff because the ball game's over with. Because you don't really care who's there, right? Because there's another funny thing that happened prior to the ball game.
Unless Trump's there.
So we're there and we're going through the ball game's over with. Look, dude, I got a beard that looks worse than yours ever thought about looking at. So, it's splotchier. It's just terrible.
Mom.
My mom said, "Look, my wife said you're gonna shave that." So I shaved it, shaving it in the locker room, right after the ball game. I'm getting that. I'm nasty. Get it over with. Right. Look, everybody's speaking. All we're wanting to do is go smoke our cigars, get in our cars, or ride the bus back, or whatever you wanted, wherever you were going, back to the hotel. Right. Well, I was going back with my wife and my parents. And I'm like, look, man, I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. Well, everybody's sitting there talking. Well, you just gotta get up and you just gotta go. You know what I mean? Because you're undressing, you're throwing all your stuff where it's supposed to be. Well, you had to walk right by everybody to get to the showers. Well, here I go. I said, look, I'm done. I've got to go. So I walk right on by them. So, and then everybody's like, hey. So here so they're just waiting on one person to do it. So everybody started filing to the showers, getting ready to go. We ain't that tired of this. So, that was the PG version of that.
Sure.
For your podcast, your family-friendly podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, if I ever do one, it's not going to be family-friendly. So
that's fine.
We won't have a big.
We'll start our own, Coach Riley.
So.
Me and him are thinking about
Yeah,
it.
we're really talking about doing one. So we'll have Dennis as our first guest.
There we go.
So how to abuse a newspaper, the sports
Hey, I can let
writers,
some words
right?
fly too that
So,
I can get on here.
So
So what happened before the game?
and I'm really bad about it. You're a history guy, right?
Yeah.
So talk to me. Who was, and I know it, first landed on the moon, the whole group, what were they? What was their name?
Paul Levin.
Yeah, who all is? Neil Armstrong, who? Buzz Aldrin, who else?
I can't remember the guy that stayed in the capsule. I don't remember his name.
Okay.
Life of me.
Well, all those jokers are there at the
In
ball
your locker
game.
room?
At the ball game
Okay.
prior to, right?
Okay.
yeah,
They're doing the
after
coin
this.
toss.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They're doing the coin toss,
Yep.
which is fine. We run out. The coin toss is already over with. They are literally sitting on our bench. Okay? Literally sitting down right there.
Uh-huh.
Let's be honest. It's casual sitting. I'm like, who are these dudes? I'm like, they're going to have to get the hell up and get off the bench because we got a football game to play. I said, hey, bud, y'all got to go. We're getting ready to play a football game. Don't care who you are, but you got to go. Dudes, I don't even know who they are. I mean, at this point in time, I'm ready to play a football game. Don't care who they are. I just tell them to leave. Very influential people, right? Right?
First two humans to step foot on the moon.
You got to get off the bench, though. You've been benched from the
You might have put a
the
flag
space
on the
program,
moon,
but you
ain't
gotta
put one
go.
on our bench.
You gotta go. So yeah. So there you go. Here's some good stories, Dennis.
Oh my God.
So, because at that point in time, I didn't care nothing but playing football. Didn't matter. Those fun times for me.
Did you, were you known to, in your playing days, were you known to pop off at the mouth any at all?
I wouldn't say I pop off at the mouth.
Exchange pleasantries with other players?
That was just it's gamesmanship. What are you talking about?
I'm just asking.
Yeah, 100%. I'm a gamesmanship dude now. I love some gamesmanship. I still like gamesmanship today.
I won't lie, my dad said you were one of his favorite offensive linemen because I think he said it's at UCLA. Peyton took a
No,
late
not
hit or
me.
something. Wasn't you?
I would not play with Peyton at UCLA. But I did play with Peyton when we were at our place, and I probably did say some things about some people that would do some stuff.
97, you should have played with Peyton.
We weren't at UCLA.
Yeah.
97.
Yeah, you were.
Were we?
Mhm.
I'll tell you how much I remember about our program.
Well, okay. He says that he took a late hit and that you ended up getting in the guy's face and exchanged pleasantries with him.
I
That
may
made-
have. I did that quite often.
So that for your quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Got to.
Nobody can take a shot on him, only me.
And then they moved you to center
Yeah.
in 98?
Yeah.
Or was it late 97?
98. Going into camp. Never. 2 weeks into camp. We'd already been through, right?
So I joke all the time that, you tell everybody that Peyton used to touch your butt, but that
That's not the case.
Yeah, it didn't happen. T. Martin did,
100%.
and all of a
Love it.
sudden that was the golden grail
Yeah.
to get us a national title.
100% it was. Some of the smoothest hands ever. Long fingers.
I hope you step on a Lego.
Guys, you want to make
It's
a
part
fun
of his
podcast?
life.
It's a part of my life. What are you talking about? It's things I have experienced in my life, right? So we're talking about a podcast. We're talking about things experienced. Let's experience some of that. We won't talk about all the dry needling that you do, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. That's weird, you know what I mean.
It's
Stuff
not
It's
weird.
not weird to me to play football, right? It's nowadays it'd be weird for a center. They don't ever take a snap underneath center. I mean, they'd be like, whoa. It'd be like goosing them. I'm like, hey, come on now. What's that? They'd be like, be a police officer. I've been assaulted. No, that's how you take a snap.
Oh my goodness. Whenever you went through that move, I mean, what was that? Was there any kind of adjustment to it?
Yeah, a lot. I thought my name.
Is center the toughest position on the offensive line?
Yeah,
just
because
because you got to snap the ball and get your hand
I'm
up?
blocking a 300-pound guy like this, one-handed, right? One hand between my legs, one hand out here like this, right? And you're like, man, he's got it. No, that's not a disadvantage by no means, right? And when you never snapped a football before in your entire life, right?
So you never played center?
Never
at that
played
point?
center at that point, right? Never played center. So they said, hey, we're going to move you to center. All right, it's great. So we go out there the first day. Hey, man, if we had 80 snaps in the freaking team period, we probably had 40 of them on the ground. And I thought my name was bleepity bleep bleep bleep. So, you know what I mean? So at that
Former had it out for you?
well, at that point in time, Mike Berry did too. So, you know what I mean? He's definitely a guy from up north, and I definitely thought my name was not Spencer Riley. It may have been Spencer Riley, right? But, you know what I mean? So, which is fine because you know what I mean? So we get through that first day, and then the week gets better, right? It gets gradually better. My goal was not to have a fumble snap in a ball game, right?
First game, wasn't it?
Never had one. Never had a fumble snap. Ball never touched the ground.
Oh, okay, sorry.
The ball never
Skinner,
touched the ground.
you had a road carry against
Yes,
Syracuse.
I did have a road carry against Syracuse because the quarterback didn't take the ball and I wasn't landing on the ground. What do you do with it? They never tell you about that. They never tell you what to do there. Max and they'll tell you. So I'm like, what'd I do? Well, I said, I'll just take off running this way and see what they say. Throw a little yell at Hanky and say illegal touching. I said, oh, okay. So I'll take my 5-yard penalty. But we had no fumbles, Maddux, that year. No fumbles from center quarterback exchange, buddy. You're going to have to get a little bit more involved in this conversation.
Well, I thought we were going to talk about basketball, but I mean, I can talk about Jeff Cat basketball all day.
Well, what kind of we want to talk about it?
Well, it's questions for Dennis. What's he got for me? I can answer any of them.
Just go ahead and start spouting off.
About the season,
Sure.
girls or boys?
Both.
Yeah, well,
Ready to
get
go.
your thoughts.
Well, first of all, I mean, the conference for both boys and girls ain't gonna be easy. I mean, we've already had one conference game, West, and we got swept, JV and varsity. That's part of it. Well, Maddie didn't play for the girls, and I mean, that's obviously when you don't have your starting point guard, it's all, your offense is going to change.
It obviously showed that
Yeah.
whenever she came back
Yeah.
last night.
I mean, Cascade wasn't very good, but still, I mean, we could have we were on pace to put up 100 points that game, but we didn't. Obviously, we didn't want to disrespect them that bad. And then
I mean, they came 5 hours to play.
yeah,
Huh?
but the boys,
They came from West Tennessee.
yeah, they came from like Nashville
I think Bo said that they're playing
Nashville's
in
not
the.
West
or
Tennessee.
whatever.
I think they said it's 5 hours away. Well, their parents did, but I think Bo said that they're playing in a Christmas
Gatlinburg,
tournament.
yeah.
Gatlinburg.
Oh, okay. That's a big tournament.
Yeah, so they wanted to get a game in before
Yeah.
doing that.
But the boys
And
team,
they actually for a team that far away, they actually traveled pretty
yeah,
decently.
yeah. But the boys team, I mean, they've won what? Would you say 3 of their last 4?
Yeah, 3 of their last 4,
I mean, they're
5 total.
They're struggling, and it's part of it. But they got to keep buying in and trusting Coach Hill's process. But I mean, their conference is loaded. I mean, you had East and Sevier County that played last Friday, went to overtime, and East won by 2. I mean, I could, if we ever get back on the podcast later, I mean, I could go back and probably look at these huddle stats, and I think the leading scorer for Jeff County is probably averaging. It's probably Brody, and he's probably only averaging like 11, 12 points a game.
It'd either be Brody or Kip. They've been pretty consistent. But yes, it
Averaging
would
like
be
10,
low.
11 points a game. I mean,
Yeah.
you go look at Morristown East, that Kyle kid had 40-something the other night. I mean, he's probably averaging
Yeah, well, the
23
kid
a
can
game.
shoot too.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, and we're struggling shooting the boys team, and that's part of it. But the boys team's young.
Yeah.
They got a lot of young kids.
Well, that's the thing. It's going to be a process, and those guys are going to grow. And I mean, your hope is to make something out of this year towards the end of it.
Yeah, it's
Like even Spencer said, I mean, it's all a tournament sport. They're guaranteed to at least get to the region with the way
Yeah.
that the classifications work now. So you're just working to get better as the year goes along. And when you play the best
yeah,
ball
but you also don't want to get
at that point.
you also don't want to get last in your district, and you're gonna have to go up to Johnson City and play their #1 seed either.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a dogfight for Lewis and Coach Hill both. But
Well, I think that's a good idea. Maybe one of the first episodes that we
You don't
do
want it to be-
on the other
yeah.
side of the new year. Talk about kind of go over some stats and take a deeper dive into the district and how
Yeah.
that's going to play out because I mean they've still got 5 district games
yeah,
on
Can.
that side of the schedule.
yeah, they still got to play Sevier County and East, and they'll play West again. But on the boys aspect, I think East and Sevier County are gonna be hard to beat, just because they do everything the right way.
Yeah.
They don't make a lot of mistakes, and they have the scores that they need to put up 70 points a game. Our boys team simply doesn't have that.
Right.
And the girls, I mean, like, how many points did that girl from West have the other night? Like 27, 28?
It was up there. I can't remember off the
And it
top of
didn't
my
even
head.
seem like it, but
Yeah.
she did. And then you look up the scoreboard, and we're down 20. So it's going to be a struggle, but I think they can do it.
I think the girls will be all right though. I mean, again, you're just building towards the end, and by all means, they proved that last year. I mean, they won 1 district game the entire
And then they
regular
end up winning
season.
the district championship,
And
yeah.
then win the tournament. So I mean,
And he's got the same team minus a couple players.
right. So,
Yeah, I
think,
mean, it's definitely frustrating as a coach for sure.
sure, yeah, but I think that they're in a better spot just because of the amount of seniors that they have.
And talent, I think.
Yes.
I think Coach Hill would say the same thing. The girls' team.
Well, yeah, I mean, if Andy had a kid that could shoot it or get to the rim whenever he wanted, like Maddie does, then
Yeah. It's. Coach Riley had to take a phone call, I guess.
I guess.
Oh.
You don't want to talk basketball?
I don't know much about it, other than I watched them the other night versus
West.
West.
Yeah, it's rough.
No. So it's
Well,
your
I'll
fault.
sit here and be honest with you. I thought it with the prop, with start with the girls, with Coach Lewis and the team being about 2 players.
Yeah.
2 starters. I thought you go 10 minutes without scoring a bucket. You know what I mean? That's kind of a struggle. They got it cut to 8 at one point in time, almost 6.
Yeah, they made a game out of
Made
it.
a game out of it, right? So I think we'll have I think when we get back to full health and full strength, I think we'll have a chance.
It's like the boys cut it to 4, and then they give up a layup in transition.
Then they give up. They went on a 10-0 run
Yeah.
too. West did. So, I mean, I think we have our chances to do so. We just got to become more consistent as the year goes along.
Sure.
and quit turning the ball over.
Yeah.
They'll both tell you that. Coach Hill and Coach Lewis both tell you can't turn the football over, right? And for us in football, same way. You can't turn it over and expect to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Empty trips are not good in basketball.
Yeah.
By no means. It's like
And-
hitting the ball out of bounds in golf. No bueno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the boys team,
Kicking the ball in the trees and
Yeah, no
kick off.
bueno.
yeah, and the boys team, they don't have really a true point guard either.
No.
They're rotating 3 in. They got Luke, Sean, and Zach. Yeah.
Well, guys, I think that's a good place to leave off. Hey, you guys got anything else to add?
I'm good.
Just want to say thank you for our sponsors of
We don't have any.
Jack Daniels and Budweiser for sponsoring us today.
Hmm.
I know you'll get to cut that out.
I wish. Guys, thank y'all for joining us. Spencer, Caitlin, good luck whenever you get back to Ole Miss.
Thank you.
Hope you have a good season. Hope you have safe travels going to and from Oxford.
Appreciate it, man. Merry Christmas to you and the family and to the Standard Banner family. And, Coach, everybody, Merry
And
Christmas.
Jeffco Nation.
Jeffco Nation,
All right.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And we will see you next year.
See y'all next year. Peace.